I'll introduce you as actor, voice artist.
Man with the beard.
What's your intro? Future husband.
Man with the beard, future husband. Yeah. Actor auditioning from home with no connection to anybody.
What's that movie? Is it a hit? I'll ask her later, she'll say, I haven't seen it.
Welcome to the Haven't Seen It podcast. This is a podcast where we bring people on the show and we get them really drunk and they tell me about a movie that I've never seen before. I'm Alenka Zach.
And I'm Will. And we're back. We took a week off, guys.
Oh, yeah, we did.
Yeah.
Did you guys want to know why? Did we talk about this? Let me just quickly recap, you guys.
I don't think we've ever mentioned this.
We've never mentioned it. You guys want to know why we missed a week? Because my foreign father, yes, the one that plays the pan flute occasionally for the cats in the background of the podcast, was doing some late night woodwork, and he sliced his fingy right open. So Alenka had to babysit him because he wouldn't go to the hospital. Hashtag Eurodads, am I right? All right.
Are you saying only Europeans can slice their finger on woodworking? Actually,
and not just slice them open, but also refuse to go to the hospital.
Yeah,
because quote unquote, he didn't want anyone at the hospital to laugh at him.
It's gonna get very xenophobic or something. But I was watching a woodworking video on Facebook the other day, and for some reason it popped into my mind it was all in I think a Norwegian language, and I was like, other countries do woodworking. I don't know why. I was just like, of course woodworking. I just picture like North American it's tools. And I know. It was terrible.
Wait, you think North America is where the tools come from? No, it's Europe, baby.
It's stupid. In my mind,
I'm just
like,
blue collar ballers came from.
Exactly. It's never picture in my mind that other countries care about drills and tools as much as that country North American people do.
Will, honestly, sometimes you're the smartest, most well-read person ever, and other times you're just a total doofus.
Well, speaking of our guest,
hey,
he's back. We have him back on the show.
You've all been waiting.
You remember that deep, beardy voice? It's wonderful voice actor Hayden Finkelstein.
Hello.
Welcome back.
Shalom. Thank you. I'm very excited to be back.
We're excited to have you back.
Thanks. Yeah. Last time you ruined a movie I thought I liked, so I look forward to
Can't wait to do it again, baby.
No, you can't. I love this movie.
Yes, I'm actually pretty scared.
I feel it in my bones.
It should be, it really should be your goal to try to pick as many holes and shitty things.
Don't, please, don't. It's so good.
I don't know if it will. I'm feeling emotional. I think this is going to suck me right in, which makes me a little upset.
Good. Yes.
So what movie are we talking about, Hayden?
We're watching Her from, I think Cats. No, we're watching Her from 2013, I think, directed by Spike Jonze.
Yeah.
2013, really?
This is his, yeah. This is his writer directorial debut, isn't it?
I think that I can look that up. I think you're right about that.
Yeah.
I think that's the case. Yeah.
The guy who produced Jackass films made this movie, which is really
shut up.
Really odd.
It's his solo screenwriting debut.
That's what it is. Yeah.
As I learned on Wikipedia just now.
He just followed his passion, I guess. He was like, I did Jackass to get out here, and now I'm here. I'm gonna do some real stuff. Yeah.
Joaquin Phoenix too. Yeah.
This I knew.
Amy Adams. It's a stellar cast.
It is good. Yeah, Chris Pratt. So they got a small part in it.
What?
Oh yeah.
I thought it was just strictly Joaquin the whole time. I don't remember seeing anybody else in the trailers.
That would be a very different movie, even sadder movie.
Yeah. The other characters bring a little bit of levity to this very, very upsetting film. To be totally transparent, Chris Pratt is in it for maybe 7 minutes collectively. It's mainly Joaquin
Skinny
Phoenix.
Chris Pratt or Parks and Rec Chris Pratt?
I think
he's never been skinny. This is mid buff. This is
he's kind of buff in this movie.
Yeah, I guess buff. Yeah, sorry. Yeah.
This is where he was packing on pounds, but still working out really hard just before Guardians, I believe, Guardians of the Galaxy. So
I liked
him better when he was in Parks and Rec.
Yeah. No, he's not. Yeah, he's not dad bod.
Somehow
Parks and Rec.
seemed less
Chris Pratt.
douchey when he was dad bod.
This is like a good middle ground Chris Pratt, where he does feel like a douchebag in the movie a little bit, but he's still kind of cute and you want to like poke him.
Yeah, I mean, this is pre I'm all about my conservative religion and the military Chris Pratt now.
Is that a thing?
Oh, yeah. People are like just waiting for him to say the really wrong things because he already supports like a church that supports conversion therapy.
Whoa, no way, really?
But he's never really come out and said anything about it. And he's like every second post is about the military, which take that as you will.
Yeah. But the conversion, I mean, that's pretty disappointing.
Some things.
Yeah.
He's dealing with in a bad way. You know what? Try not to pass judgment on people just because they're different. He's just doing a different way. He's just doing a different thing. You keep being
which is
different,
kind
Chris
of
Pratt.
what the movie Her is about. He's doing it a different way.
Yeah, he can go his own way.
Not Chris Pratt. I mean Joaquin Phoenix.
Own way.
In fact, Chris Pratt is the least judgmental person in this movie. So
yeah, Chris Pratt's actually pretty cool in this movie.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, why did you pick her? Her? Why'd you pick her?
Who? I'll stop doing that now. We can stop. We
We only get one.
Right,
we only get one.
It's for sure in my top favorite films.
For now.
No, it is, and it will be after too. It's so excellent. And I rewatched it this morning with a lot of fear in my heart because of what you did to Across the Universe for me last time I was on.
I didn't do it.
You did. You did, and you were happy about it. It did do it to itself. Julie Taymor did it. But I rewatched it, and I was nervous. In the first 5 minutes, I was really nitpicking the kind of exposition, and I was like, "Oh no, it's a bit heavy-handed, whatever." And then I got through like the first 20 minutes, and I was in tears until the end again, just because it's so excellent. It's so good, and the music is amazing in it.
Why? What's the vibe?
I feel like it's everything I want in a movie all the time.
Okay. All right. Okay.
So I'll leave you with that vague
I don't know how to
description.
respond to that. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's I forgot how great it was. I saw it this is like only it's my third time because apparently my partner Sam and I watched this with my mom. She remembers because she remembers
you were asleep.
The very awkward sexual encounters in this movie. And talks about that. Watching it both with her dad once, but then also with my mom. So
wait, you watched it one time separate with her father, and then
no. I watched it by myself one time, and then the second time I watched it was apparently with Sam and my mom. Sam herself, the first time she watched it was with her dad, and then the second time was with my mom. So she's had two awkward kind of.
It's interesting that Sam watched
viewings.
It with her father and then was like, "Yeah, green light on watching it with your mom."
Yeah.
She forgot about the awkward moments.
Really, most of it isn't that. There's just a couple moments that are pretty
long. Yeah,
long. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, but I forgot how great it was. It was it's a really cool film, and I can't wait to talk about it. But Alenka, what do you know about this movie, and what do you think it's about?
So I thought that it was basically the story of a guy that falls in love with like an operating system. Right? Yeah.
Keep going.
That's like, no, that's it. Like he falls in love. Like, I mean, I can guess like he's a little socially inept, we'll say, and then he he gets the new iPhone 5S or something and it upgrades overnight. Not that he like expressly said he wanted to, it just did it. And then it starts Suri starts talking back to him and he's like, whoa, I can actually have a conversation with this thing. And so he forms this like bond with this thing because it's the only thing he's ever maybe had successful like social interaction with. So he forms this connection and ends up the small actual real life human connections he has is dwindle because he starts obsessing over this phone And I'm going to say he just kills himself at the end.
Yeah, just throw it in for good measure.
Yeah, might as well.
I don't know. I'm just thinking he probably does. Because maybe he gets run over by he drops it in the toilet. I don't know. You know?
Drops in toilet.
That'd be that.
Kills
That'd be the
himself.
perfect ending. Yeah.
Yeah. I honestly didn't know what else. I don't know what else could happen other than, I can just envision like a slew of really just awkward, but I thought probably not funny, but uncomfortable, like weird. Not weird. I don't want to say weird because I'm sure there's just people out there that are in love with inanimate objects. And again, try not to pass judgment here because you're different. But like going to dinner, sharing a bread bowl with a phone.
You're not far off.
I don't know what else could happen.
No, not at all.
Maybe they get married.
Especially
I don't
the
know.
apple part. The apple part is close.
Oh, I bet you he programs it to say certain things to him too, which just makes me so upsetty spaghetti.
I mean, I do that with my Google Home all the time. So
yeah, and it's depressing, Will.
Yeah,
I know.
My partner were doing that with the Google Home for a while, and we would just like turn into like an insult war. So it'd be like, she'd have it programmed to tell me that my name was like, "You're a piece of shit."
Yeah.
You're a big dumb Jew.
Yikes.
Oh, Celeste.
Aw. Love you too, babe.
You turned your Google Home into an anti-Semitic device.
Yeah, it's like an Aryan Google Home, maybe.
Yeah.
Oh.
So
I mean,
I'm sure that's
you basically gave the one-word plot synopsis of the movie, which is a man falls in love with his operating system.
yeah.
Yeah. It's basically accurate. It's just like, I think your idea of how much agency he has to change stuff about the operating system is off. But other than that, it was pretty bang on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'd be shocked if I got this wrong.
Well, you must be confused about the drink, though.
Yeah, I am.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, what was the
Mostly
drink? I'm
'cause
just
of
like drinking a tall can of beer.
Yeah.
Moon
Well,
juice.
the drink is called Moon Juice. Moon
Right.
Juice. That's what the drink is called. We'll figure that out later. And honestly, the drink itself, none of the ingredients are like movie references, but the look of the drink is very much the aesthetic of the movie.
Let me see.
Which
Show
the drink
us.
is
Like sepia toned.
Yeah. Well, no,
red.
it's there's a red and there's a yellow lemon on top. So what you want to do is you want to get some rum and some
Yuck.
grenadine, some soda water, and some lime juice, and then you garnish it with a lemon, and you get moon juice.
It is
It
kind
does
of the
look
color
really
palette of the
cute.
poster.
Yeah, the color palette of in the movie in general, there's a lot of reds and yellows in this
Yeah,
movie.
that's true.
Why?
That's true.
What do
it's
those
just a cool-
symbolize?
It's very much like this movie is very deep, but the filming of it is very much just like a graphic designer filmed this movie. It's so clean edges, very like muted kind of pastel colors.
The colors are meant
would
to be,
like
I think,
that.
also kind of like a hip
Dreamy?
take on like vintage, but if it was in the
Yeah.
future,
If it was in
Why?
the future.
because it's cool and 20-year-olds who play the ukulele like it.
Exactly. In the
That's-
future, you only got two options for the future. Either like cyberpunk leather, everything's wet and techno, or everyone dresses like a Stepford wife, and everything
What the
looks
fuck
like
does
the
that
most
look like?
hipster white person.
I like
For
everything's
everyone.
wet and techno.
Yeah, that's the
that's
future,
that's-
baby.
Yeah,
It always
that's Blade
rains.
Runner.
I was just
The
gonna
other
say,
one's
is that
like
not
Black Mirror. Yeah.
great?
Well, let's get into this.
I was
This
gonna cry.
Yeah.
lovely, sad
So
ass
good.
movie.
Sad as-
Hayden, how does this movie start?
All right, let me remember from this morning when I rewatched it. Okay, so so we're introduced to Theodore Twombly. I'm seeing now his
Shitty
last name.
name.
Did not realize.
Twombly.
Stop.
Twombly.
Is the worst name
Twombly.
ever.
That's how he should speak.
Theodore Twombly.
Theodore Twombly. He is played by Joaquin Phoenix.
Ugh.
And this is why I said that, like, in the first 5 minutes, I was like, oh shit, is this going to actually be really heavy handed? Because it kind of is for the first 5 minutes. And then they just do it really well. So it doesn't matter. Yeah. But the first 5 minutes, take it with a grain of salt. It is a little heavy handed in terms of like exposition and theme. But as will be no surprise to you, he is like a lonely, kind of recluse of a guy who is is set in the like not too distant future, but it's unclear what year it is. Yeah. But the technology is pretty advanced. 2021.
I mean, it totally could be like it could be set in 2021, even though this is not what 2021 looks like now.
Yeah, it's really not too far off.
No.
Okay.
But so we discover that he is like his job is that he writes love letters, maybe not exclusively love letters, but like letters in general, like person to person letters. He writes them on behalf of other people. So for example, like if I wanted to write an anniversary card to my wife, I would hire Theodore and he would write it. And he's like studied our relationship usually for many years. He's been writing our letters to each other for many, many years. And they like appear handwritten.
That's
very
just
odd
so
service.
Weird.
Very impersonal, but personal.
Yeah,
so
that's
weird.
So ew.
But he dictates them, and the computer writes them in their handwriting because essentially this service is probably like, hey, give us samples of your handwriting, give us what your relationship is sort of like, and we'll write letters for you to each other. And some of these letters, both recipients do this. So it's not like one guy is like, I'm writing this personal letter, but actually I'm getting a service to do it. It's literally like both of them are like, we're both using this service to write letters that aren't saying the words we actually say.
Right.
So why?
This is like, I think this could be like where the movie is not heavy-handed, but very much just like, this is what society has become.
Yeah, you get the
where
sense
we write letters to each other that are nothing, and we could literally just not read them because we both know they're not coming from each other anyways.
Well, it's like you get the sense, it is a little heavy-handed, right? Like this, it is like, you get the sense it's like society has drifted so far apart, but Theodore actually has lots of feelings, even though, he hasn't had a successful relationship or whatever. Like he's the guy who has all the feelings. So you don't have to, you know what I mean? Yeah. That's kind of what you're introduced to.
And although this whole world is designed by like a minimalist graphic designer, like the company's, like the name of the company is literally just handwrittenletters.com.
Yeah. Right.
There's no fancy name for it. They're just handwrittenletters.com.
And they work in like a cool carpeted, what looks like a university dorm area kind of situation.
Yeah, it's very much like what is like late 70s, like or mid 70s feel, but all future. Yeah. So that's where and you're introduced to Theodore, who is writing cards for people, but you get the vibe right away that he's kind of lonely, even though he's writing this poetry. And you meet also, who's not very important, I don't even remember his name. Let's see. Paul, played by Chris Pratt, who works, you get the vibe that he kind of works reception at this company, maybe? Yeah, he's like the receptionist. He takes the phone calls. He doesn't write the letters. He doesn't have the words to, because it's very clear. Because we kind of open with Joaquin Phoenix writing this letter, but he's like speaking to the camera. And then it's revealed, he's writing a letter.
The computer's dictating.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And then Chris Pratt is just like this guy who doesn't speak as eloquently as Joaquin Phoenix does in those moments. So you kind of get the sense he's not a letter writer. He's just a fun dude.
This was one of the very few moments, as I mentioned at the beginning, that feels like they gave too much information that wasn't required. Like I think the first line that Chris Pratt says is like, "Hey, Theodore, letter writer 672. I am a big fan of your work." It's like, we already know he's a letter writer. Why you got to repeat it? That's his job. It's very clear.
Yeah.
You filmed this guy. Why you say it again?
They literally pan out and other people are at other desks writing different letters. Like there's clearly this like man who's just like, I hope your trip on the cruise was great, Grandma. Like he's literally writing from the perspective of like a teenager or a kid.
Right.
So
like many people
weird.
use this service. And so
where's
this
the kid
first like
get
10,
the money
15
for
minutes.
this,
His allowance.
It's that tooth fairy money.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
Wow.
The first 10, 15 minutes is basically establishing what his life is.
And the society.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Because what happens next after he leaves the office?
Let's see. I'm going to take a look.
He runs into his neighbor. Oh, no, he gets on the elevator with a bunch of people and everyone's like on their phone. And their phone is basically like an earpiece in which he can be like next message, next email, next news item. And then he has this little flip out touchscreen thing in which he can see images and other things that might be relevant to what he's like talking to.
Emails or whatever.
Yeah. But the first thing he does is he's just kind of like, play a melancholy song, like not even a specific song, just a sad song, please. Play me a sad song.
yeah. Like again, the beginning is a little heavy-handed, but it gets really
he's
good.
A sad boy.
Like he's already walking through the world like Charlie Brown, and we don't need him to say, play a sad song for me, please.
That's just played it. And so and the other thing that's important maybe is that so it's an earpiece and then like a little phone type thing that you leave in your pocket, and you can speak to it and it will listen to you, but the voice is very much like whatever personal assistant you would have on your phone now. Like it's next email is from whatever, and it'll start reading it to you. Okay, delete. Like there's nothing personal. It sounds very much like what your phone would sound like today.
Okay.
Yeah. And they also they show in a couple different scenes in this opening, but like that he's obviously also just kind of like, he's horny. He's horny as fuck.
Yeah, they do show that now. Actually. There's
like a moment where the news email is just like, nude photo shoot of some famous model, pregnant photos, and he's like holding on to the news item. He goes, "Show me," and then he takes out the phone, and it's just like, it's kind of it's a funny moment where you're just like, he's skipping through all this political bullshit. There's a little bit of like world exposition about like the merger of there's like a merger. I think it's Asia.
China and India.
Yeah, China and India are merging into one country, sort of thing. So this is like it's the future, and political things are happening.
Guys.
Yeah, exactly.
It's pretty purposefully vague, though. Like it's just like this is sometime soon, but not now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he's horny, and he goes to his building, his condo or apartment. He has a really nice apartment, but
presumably he gets paid well to do this.
Yeah,
there's a ton of letter writers.
Oh yeah,
but I guess they all just get paid a shit ton of money to do this job.
Yeah,
nobody feels
about
anymore.
This whole movie, I realized is this is just like the art house version of 500 Days of Summer.
Oh yeah,
Tom Hansen in that movie is like a greeting card writer.
Yeah, it is. It is a little bit right,
and it's like
I don't remember that movie because I hated it.
Yeah, it's really just like this movie, but more art housey and award winning.
Yeah, that's fair.
Take that, Zooey Deschanel.
They're both in LA, so.
And this movie has Rooney Mara in it, who's kind of also Zooey Deschanel.
Ugh,
yeah, that's true.
Worst.
Very. But she is the art house award winning Zooey Deschanel.
Zoe.
Yeah. Zooey Deschanel doesn't win awards.
Is it Zoe or Zooey? I always thought it was Zooey Deschanel.
I don't think it's
no,
Zooey.
It has two O's in it.
Doesn't mean it's pronounced Zooey though.
It must be. Why would you put two O's?
Hayden, please don't do this.
I think it's Zoe.
If it's Zooey,
no.
Everybody owes me.
It's not. You know what? It fucking would be Zooey because she just has to be so quirky.
Oh fuck. Well, the computer's telling me it's Zoe, but I'm gonna call her Zooey Deschanel.
Let's call her Zooey.
It'll be one of those things too where no one's gonna actually correct you because they're just gonna be like, did he really just say that?
This man's been mispronouncing that name his whole life.
Zooey Deschanel. Yikes. All right.
Any person I meet. Hello, Zooey. I make every name just a little bit more exciting.
Just a little
wrong.
Fantastical.
Yes,
just a little fun.
William.
No, it's Will I Am.
Will I Am. That's you.
That's what some people in high school called me. Okay.
Unoriginal.
Not because of my amazing rapping abilities, but because my name spelled
was William. Yeah, that's fair.
There we go.
No, we get it.
All right. So Theodore Twombly.
That's how
he
he
arrives at his apartment. Sure. He runs into in the elevator his one of his neighbors who's sort of revealed. It's kind of slow. I feel like it's kind of slowly. They know each other quite well, and they used to go to college together.
Yeah, they've known each other for a long time. This is Amy Adams.
Yeah, Amy Adams, and her husband what's his face? I don't know her husband's name. He is kind of, he's not really important. Charles. He's not really that important. But they're in the elevator.
He's an insta douchebag though.
Yeah, it's very clear him and Amy Adams have like no chemistry, even though they're married. And Joaquin Phoenix and Amy Adams have instant chemistry because they've been like best friends for years.
You know the like white guy who's always like devil's advocate?
Yeah.
That's the guy. That's who he is basically.
All the time.
Yeah.
So they run into the elevator and even they know he's fucking sad all the time.
Yeah, they're like, it's pretty explicit. They're like, basically the conversation is like, how's your sad life? Pretty sad. Have a good day. Like, that's kind of the conversation.
It's like, I'm deciding if I'm going to play video games or masturbate. And then.
Oh, yeah, he does say that.
No, did he really say that?
Yeah, but it's clear he's very open with Amy because, or her name is, what's her name?
Amy.
Oh, yeah, I forgot. The character's name is Amy too.
Nice.
He's very open with Amy because it's very clear they're like very good friends. They're open with each other. She's like a documentary filmmaker. Well, he's not. So he is not like a weird dude. In ways, he is weird, but he's actually quite charming, nice guy when he's in certain situations. Like he's not.
No, he's not like super mega awkward. It's just like you learn later that he has a hard time being open with people on a like super deep level. But like as a friend, like he's obviously very cool.
Yeah.
Him and Amy get on pretty good.
Mm-hmm. So then he goes and he plays futuristic video games in his living room in which he's like using his hands to be like a climbing person of some sort. It's kind of like this it like projects in the whole room and he's like
right
immersed in it. Yeah.
Cool.
And apparently the guy who designed this video game projection type thing actually was inspired to actually create a couple video games.
Oh, sure.
So
really?
he created this game called Mountain Game, and it's literally just like you choose a couple things at the very top and then it's supposed to run in the background while you're working or something, and whatever you choose will shape whatever this mountain world becomes, and it just like asteroids might hit it, all this other stuff.
Oh, that's cool.
It's kind of interesting, yeah, but it's more or less like an introspective non-playable game type thing. But it inspired him to create some of his own video games, to create these like fake video games.
That's cool.
Yeah. And then after he's done playing video games is the first awkward sexual scene that I had referenced.
Oh, right. But we're not introduced to anything about his previous relationship yet, are we?
What?
Does he? He might have a little bit of flashbackiness, doesn't he? In bed, doesn't he? He's lying in bed and he kind of has some flashbacks of her, doesn't he?
I think it's that first. Yeah, you basically like you start to learn, though I don't remember how much information is given at what point, but you start to learn that he had a relationship. I think it's at this moment, and it's like the typical drama, like, you know, he's lying in bed alone in the dark and you see moments of like, you know, his ex in the camera, like looking lovingly at him, and you know, like it's just like a montage of fun moments. But at this point, I think you don't know if she's deceased or if they're divorced or, you know, broken up or whatever.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Yeah, and then it's the moment you're referring to. Well,
yeah, and so he like phones, calls like a phone sex line. Or
gotcha.
Like singles are looking to hook up via phone sex.
Yeah.
And so he's like scrolling through, you know, next people's like intro messages. One of which is like, I want you to break me in half. And he's like, next.
Next.
But then there's this one woman who's just like, I'm just laying in bed, can't get to sleep. And just, you know, I'm a little lonely. And he's like, send message.
Okay.
And they begin like a little conversation.
You know who plays her, by the way?
No.
I didn't know this either, but I looked it up. It's Kristen Wiig.
Really?
What?
Yeah, which makes sense.
So much sense
with the way it goes. Because basically they start having this conversation that pretty immediately gets pretty hypersexual. And it looks like it's like, I mean, it's a little gross to watch it from the outside.
It's awkward because he's just sitting there like talking, and it's just audio, which is somehow even more awkward. Like I'd rather see visual if I'm hearing what I'm hearing right now.
But at least it's like, oh, this is going well for him. Like they're good. They're both, it's consensual and they're both having a sexual experience, whatever. But then like right at the like climax of everything, she like verbalizes to him, like they're like role playing, like they're in the bed together. And then at one point she just goes, yeah, and choke me with the cat. And he's like, pardon me? And he discovers that her fantasy is to be choked out with presumably a dead, I think it's a dead
Oh, no,
cat?
she says dead cat.
Oh, she's pretty clear that it's
grab
dead?
the dead cat. And he's like,
From beside the bed.
and there's a pig pause. There's like, okay, I'm choking you with the cat. It's dead. It's a dead cat. I'm choking you
With its tail.
a dead
Its
cat.
tail is around your neck.
What the hell?
And then she
That's just
finishes.
so odd.
She
Yeah.
finishes
Oh my
and it's
God.
like, okay, good night.
It goes, there was a lot of weird, extreme, kind of hilarious comedy, but like really random and very almost just like, where did that come from? in
Yeah.
this
You get the
moment?
sense that like he ran into Kristen Wiig in a hallway and was like, oh shit, you know what'd be funny?
Yeah, exactly.
That's odd.
So that happens.
So
Again, further showing how like
Right.
he's horny. Like in the middle of the night, he's like, I'm phone sex lines.
horny and sad
Yeah.
and alone.
Yeah.
And then where do we go?
Was
and
this
then-
when you
and
started
I think it's-
crying, Hayden?
No, not yet, but actually pretty soon.
Where you're like, oh, I want to be choked by a dead cat.
The dead cat. And then I heard my cat in the next room, and it was all very emotional. No, I think is the next scene when he already goes and purchases the OS.
Yeah, basically he's wandering around the mall. Another thing about obviously the future world, everyone's also got the earpiece on their little things, and everyone's kind of just swiping and saying next to their shit. No one's having
That's
like
so weird.
conversations. At least
I hate that.
on his commute home, they weren't.
Yeah.
Anyway, he's like wandering around this mall, and then it's like, ooh, the future of OSs. Like, personalize your every need, organize your life.
Yeah, like they're selling operating systems like they had on their phone before, but what used to be like a mega robotic voice is now
Right.
like, ooh, buy this organic OS. Like it has intuition. Like it
can learn.
knows you. It learns.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, got it.
So
Yeah.
then he buys it, I guess, and immediately back to his apartment. He's setting it up. It's all super cool, designed by a minimalist graphic designer. Everything looks sleek. That's what I like about it. And everything looks super sleek
Yeah, it
on
does.
all the screens and everything.
That's fair.
And then we're introduced to a male voice at first.
Okay.
And then the voice asks if he wants a male or female voice, and he says female because he's horny AF.
Right.
And
Weird.
and that's when
He
we're
plays it off
introduced.
coy. That moment sticks in my head. He's always like, "Whoa, well, female, I guess."
Yeah.
Like,
I wasn't sure. I thought maybe I'd go with a male, but
you're a horny
with
little
female.
boy, aren't you, Joaquin?
And we're immediately introduced to the voice, which is Scarlett
Her.
Johansson.
Oh, it
Her.
is.
She's
Yeah.
so excellent in this movie.
So good. And originally it was actually Samantha Morton. The
Oh,
I don't
actress
know her.
Samantha Morton. Yeah, she did all the
See,
recording. She recorded
Missed
everything.
opportunity.
And I think she was on set too, perhaps. And Scarlett Johansson was recorded later. They just
Oh.
it just worked out that.
Oh no, but she recorded all this stuff and then they didn't use her.
Well,
That
the whole thing,
sucks.
she's credited as a producer on the film. Like her and
Oh.
Spike Jonze are like friends and collaborators.
Oh.
So she was on set,
She's
I think,
better.
and recorded all the lines, and also was on set to like throw lines back and forth and stuff.
Oh, okay. I was
But at
wondering
the end
about
of the
that.
day, after cuts and stuff, Spike just didn't like the voice, or he just didn't feel like there's the voice he wanted. So they
Oh,
got
interesting.
Scarlett
I didn't
Johansson.
know that.
Yeah,
She's so. I don't love like. There's very few things that I'll see Scarlett. I like her. I think she's a perfectly good actor. But I there's nothing I watch her in, with the exception of Jojo Rabbit, where I go, oh, this movie is like better for having her in it. Like I'm usually like, that was good. But
Mhm.
this and Jojo Rabbit are the two where I go, she fucking like made this movie. She's
Yeah,
so
that's-
good.
that's how I felt about. I watched The Island today.
The one with
No,
Ewan
not that.
McGregor.
Yeah.
And you felt that way about her in that?
Yeah, I was like, this movie is made so much better. It's already not that great, but it's made better with her.
The only thing I feel about The Island is, wow, this is going to be we don't have to go down this road, but you know the scene where, what's his name? The
No.
big guy who gets hooked up to the table?
Mm-mm.
Yeah. Michael Clark Duncan.
Why are you
Michael
holding
Clark
your
Duncan.
chest like that?
Because he got hooked up to the
Is he
table.
wearing a coconut
He's
bra?
got big pecs. That's
I
what
went to theater school, so I have to show my work. But he gets hooked up to the table. This is the only time I ever think of this movie is because I'm a white Jew who's predisposed to lots of diseases. I got when I was like 20, a like baseline colonoscopy done, And when I was on the table, I was like, I am Michael Clark Duncan in the island. And I woke up in the middle and I was like, what's in my ass? And then they like turn it up. And but it felt to me like that moment with Michael Clark Duncan just pulling off the stuff.
You're lanky and Jewish. You're definitely Michael Clark Duncan.
Yeah. Lanky Jewish Michael Clark Duncan.
But anyways, her voice is great. And then he asks her, well, what do I call you? And she kind of immediately says, you can call me Samantha.
Yeah. Okay. And he asks her like, oh, did you just come up with that? And she's like, yeah, well, you asked me. And I figured, well, I should have a name. So I read a book of, 1,000 best baby names in under 0.5 seconds. And I picked Samantha because I liked it the best. So it's clear that she's like hyper intelligent, quick at learning stuff and is very quick to evolve.
Yeah. And clearly like the juxtaposition of his like, oh, next email. Samantha is like breathing and like laughing lightly and, being a real person.
That's part about the performance that I like the best is that they they really get the sound of her breathing on the mic.
Interesting.
I realize that sounds like not like that, but it sounds very organic. And this is the part where I start crying because then it cuts to a wide and it's like Joaquin Phoenix, like sitting on a chair, like just listening to her and they're like laughing and having a conversation. It's the first time where you're like, oh, this is a real genuine connection, but it's with an operating system and it makes me sad.
Okay.
Yeah. And there's even like she organizes like all his emails and stuff and looks through like, I guess, hundreds of old emails because he used to work for, there's a bunch of these emails he hasn't deleted from the LA Times or something. He used to work for them. And he's like, well, I've been keeping them because I thought there was some funny things in there I might have wrote. And she's like, yeah, there is some funny things. I think we can keep 84 of these emails. And he just like, oh, like he was like hoping all of them were gold, but she's like, no, 84 of them are actually pretty funny. The rest we can delete.
Nice.
Yeah. So she's helping him. She's funny. It's a genuine connection. She's learning lots of info. And from this point on, the movie is fucking gold.
Yeah.
Okay.
Feel very
from this
strongly.
point on the movie, there's some montagey bits, but there's a lot of significant like moments you learn about him and also about how Samantha's learning and also his ex relationship and just all
so
these
good
things. Yeah. So what happens? What majorly happens next?
I'm looking on Wikipedia just to remember. So, right. So a friend, I forget if it matters which friend, I don't think so, has been trying to convince Theodore to go on a blind date.
Oh yeah, Amy. It's Amy's friend.
Is that what it is?
Yeah, it's Amy's like acquaintance that she's trying to set him up with.
And it's Olivia Wilde, who's obviously like gorgeous and very cool. And Theodore's looking at the pictures and is like, I don't know if I want to go. And Samantha, the OS, pops in and is like, oh my God, you should totally like go on this date.
Interesting.
I guess they're trying to set up that like, at first she's just an OS. Like there's no immediate, there's
just
not
helping
love right
him.
away. Yeah. And then I think he's on the date. I think that's the next big thing.
He goes, meets her on a date. They have like a really great time. This is where you see like, oh, he's actually kind of charming and funny and nice. Like has like jokes. He's not a weird dude.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
Although they do have this, like it's almost like immediate weird sexual banter. Although I guess this is supposed to be like maybe an hour and two after dinner.
I think what they do is they like, it starts at the beginning of the date and then they're like, shall we go to the bar? And then it cuts to like an hour later.
Yeah.
I think is what it is.
Yeah, because then they're just
first date after COVID vibes.
Oh my God!
Yeah, basically,
nice. with
Yeah,
Olivia Wilde. Wow.
Yeah, she's just like, yeah, you're like a little puppy. I want to hug, and he's like, oh, I don't want to be a puppy. That's like weak. I want to be like a dragon. And then he's like, yeah, a dragon. I'm gonna bury my scales in your lair or something. I don't know. Like he doesn't say that, but like it gets to a point where like, oh, they're like dirty talking about him being a dragon.
Dragons.
Bury my scales in your lair.
Yeah,
because then the implication is that the dragon has to remove its own skin.
It's just so painful.
That's not how dragons work. So I'm told. I don't know. So Game of Thrones has told me.
and then is it just like I think hard cut to them like making out outside,
macking out on the street? Yeah,
nice.
Yeah,
but then she's like, I need like to know that like you're gonna call me back. Like, you're not just gonna fuck me and leave.
Oh,
Right.
And he hesitates.
He immediately like can't commit to that. Yeah.
Why? I thought he wanted companionship.
Because he's a lonely boy.
So that companionship's that's confusing though.
Well, it's kind of like, it's more like, I don't think you're supposed to know this by now, but he's like obviously still a little hung up on his ex-wife.
Yeah, you learn, it makes more sense as the movie goes on and you learn more about the relationship he's kind of freshly-ish out of.
Yeah. But then she's just like, she kind of like, it's okay to hesitate when someone's like, I need like a commitment right now on this first date. I think that's okay to hesitate, because then she says a fucked up thing where she goes, you're a really creepy dude, and like walks away, and you're like, oh, that's uncalled for.
Yeah, it does feel very much, and this is what I like, that moment does feel rather quick. Like it feels like they were like, pull some dialogue out, we need to cut some time. Because it does feel a bit unearned. But what I like about it is both those actors are really, really good. And it genuinely feels like two complicated, kind of problematic people not connecting. Like that's, I actually like that moment a lot.
Yeah.
You know, like she's got shit going on that unfortunately we just don't learn about, but he's got shit going on. Like it just feels, it doesn't feel completely unjustified to me.
Okay.
I guess so. Yeah. I guess he did talk about being a dragon and they got sexual, so that could justify saying he's creepy. Yeah.
Yeah.
He also has a mustache. If you've seen the poster, Alenka, which you probably have.
I've seen the poster.
Yeah. He's got a mustache, which mustaches can be stylish, and I think he rocks it. But then there's times where you're like, okay, he looks a little weird. He looks like a weirdo. Don't always trust a person with a mustache, but
yeah, they usually ride the line. They make a choice.
No one rides that mustache in this movie. But.
No one.
Right.
Well, sort of.
Kind of.
So.
A little bit.
Oh, in a way. I think I know what's going to
happen.
So I'm just looking what happens next.
I know what's going to happen.
Next he goes home. Like he goes home from the date and it's kind of like, oh, that makes me feel sad. But then like Samantha. So there's this thing where like
does
Samantha
anything
phones
not make him feel sad?
Exactly. Well, Samantha phones him. Throughout the movie,
weird.
like, well, there's like an indicator on his phone and he can put his earpiece in to talk to Samantha. It's Samantha calling.
Yeah, it's not like when he powers, like she exists whether the phone is on or not.
Yeah, she's always existing, doing things.
The technology universe.
Yeah.
Okay.
In the binary.
And she can call him and be like, hey, what up?
Yeah, kind of.
It kind of, that's what kind of happens with the movie is that once they start developing their friendship a bit more, it's a lot like, oh, hey, how you doing? Oh, I was just, reading all the words ever to exist.
That's weird.
But it starts with her just like calling to be like, hey, you got an email or whatever.
Yeah.
Okay.
So she's like, she wants to know how the date went and he's kind of explaining it and how he was feeling. Again, such a horny boy. He's just like, I just wanted someone to have sex with me. I wanted to have sex with her. I wanted someone to want me to have sex with them. Like and it's kind of his first person view of the date in his memory, I guess. He's laying in his bed. Yeah. And then she starts talking about kind of like starting to feel like she wonders what it would be like to have like a physical body or something like that.
Yeah. Yes.
Interesting.
Yeah. And I think also around the same time she starts asking about his relationship with Amy too. And that's when you learn that they were friends in college and had like a brief stint dating maybe, or they tried to date once, but it didn't go anywhere. Yeah. But they're just good friends. But yeah, she starts kind of yearning for a physical, not yearning, but she starts kind of questioning what it might be like, I think, to exist in the physical world.
Yeah.
That's so weird.
She also wants to watch him sleep.
Yeah, though I think that's a later thing, no?
That's a later thing, yeah. But this is the moment. This is a big moment, right?
Did they test these operating systems before they flung them out on the market?
Well, this is the point. It's like, this is all uniquely organic. It's all happening now.
That's okay.
And then I'm pretty sure like this part also does kind of happen fast. But again, the acting is so good that it kind of justifies it. Like they basically end up having sex, sort of.
Verbal sex, yeah. Just like his phone sex, except he's more into it. There's no dead cats this time around.
Right.
But it's very basically she's like, you know, there's a kind of a point of no return when they're talking and they're just talking very intimately, not like sexual, but then she's like
stuff like, what if I were lying in bed with you? What would that feel like? Because she wants to know what it would be like to have a body.
Yeah. Well, what would you do if I was lying next to you? And that's kind of the point where she says that. And it's actually really great because there's almost like this slight pause, but it's not like so apparent, but it is this slight pause in his reaction because then it's kind of like this point of no return. He's like, well, I guess I'm having sex with an OS.
Yeah. and it's like unclear the realm in which she exists, but it becomes very clear very quickly that when he starts describing the sensations of like being intimate physically, she can kind of, in whatever that looks like, feel that for herself.
I see.
And then they have phone sex. But this is part number 2 where Hayden cries because it is very awkward and long, but they like start getting intimate on the phone. Well, like just verbally. And it cuts to black, like everything, or it like fades to a black screen. And for like a minute and a half or 2 minutes, like you just hear them having phone sex with one another, and it like
sorry.
This is where you cried?
Yes I do, and don't laugh at me. I'm deeper than both of you put together.
Yes, I do.
This is why I cry. My tears are a testament to that.
It's so beautiful to hear it organic.
It is. No, listen, hear me out. So what happens is it fades to black, but for like 2 minutes they're just like having sex, and it's clear that it's so meaningful to her. And for him, it's like the first real big actual like connection we see in the film. And it's just so deeply sad because right away it's like these two people like could never work out. It's obvious right away. It's just like
one's
could never work out.
One's not a person.
Well, yeah, it's like, what's that? Is it Fiddler on the Roof? A bird may love a fish, but where would they build a home? It's that whole thing. And it's so deeply sad. So I cry while they have sex. Yes, I do.
Yes, I do.
At one point, she's like screaming.
Yeah.
You're inside of me. You're inside all hard. Of me.
But I cried over it. I do. I think it's really weird. Sad. I think it's sad.
That's odd.
What's better than me like sitting there being like, yeah.
I guess so. If I had to choose two, or I had to choose one out of those two, yeah.
Yeah, I think it's deeply sad.
Is you way too into it, or are you feeling emotionally deep about it?
So sad.
It's very upsetting. I think it's upsetting because they're so happy. Maybe it's that I've already seen the movie, but like I know where it's going. But I just think it's so sad.
Okay.
Where is it
think about
going?
You crying really hard at this scene.
Literally watch the scene and imagine tears the whole time. Oh, 1 second. Yes? Yeah, can something happen in the kitchen? I don't know what it is, but anyways, prepare for something.
All right. Well, Alenka, where do you think it's going?
Oh, I'm going to say, I don't know, maybe they break up.
Oh, okay.
I don't know.
I was thinking your wildest dreams, like he's just had phone sex with a computer. What's
next?
Yeah.
I don't know,
a
man.
laptop.
Like, no way. He's not just going to keep going to
she
different.
gives birth to a pager. Yeah.
Stop.
I thought you used protection.
I don't know. I thought I was going to cry, but I don't know if I will anymore. Now that I know that I can cry.
It's different hearing two grown men describe this movie.
Yeah, that's fair.
I guess.
You'll watch it, you'll see.
Well, so next, it's kind of, this is like the development of the relationship. He's feeling happier. I guess his writing is getting better, though it's always been good. So it's not like that, it's not that intense.
Right.
But, yeah, right.
Yeah. I don't, what happens next?
Oh, no, I was going to say, it's hard to discern what kind of happens next because it's kind of a long section of them. Like it's the like development of their relationship.
Mm-hmm.
I hate that.
It's good. It's so good. Like she's like in his ear, but also exists in this like little phone thing with a camera in it.
Mm-hmm.
And there's like really cute moments that are also like bizarre and deeply sad, I think, of like him being led around a carnival by her, like with his eyes closed. And she obviously through the camera can see where he is and is like, okay, take 5 paces this way. And his eyes closed. He's almost bumping into people and whatever. And she's like leading him around a fair with his eyes closed. They basically go on like some dates is the idea.
Yeah.
I want to know what percentage of these operating systems like manipulated the owner into a relationship.
Well, so it's not just like isolated. You end up, I don't know what point this is, but you end up kind of learning throughout the movie that like people are forming relationships with OSs and it isn't.
Earlier on, you see like he's walking and like laughing and talking, and a lot of other people are doing the same thing.
Yeah,
like,
they really kind of subtly sprinkle in that other people are kind of.
And this new OS is not taking over, but is like, yeah, people are friendly with them, or some people are like dating them, and it's not completely weird.
What the fuck, eh?
It gets kind of sprinkled in.
Okay.
Yeah.
So they've gone on a couple dates.
Yeah, he goes on a double date with receptionist Paul and his real girlfriend.
For real?
Is that
and
already?
They're like, yeah, this is cool.
Okay, the IMDb says that is next, but I don't believe that. I don't,
because the wiki says that Amy reveals she is divorcing her husband, Charles.
That's what I think. Yeah, that's what I think happens next, actually. So
good for Amy.
Yeah, Amy and her husband are divorcing because they have like just have one too many of these like fights about.
There's a couple scenes with him where it's clear that he just like doesn't get her.
Yeah. Right. There is a scene we where she's showing off this documentary. She's working on a documentary and she's showing it off a little bit. And the husband is like, "Oh, I don't get it. What's supposed to happen?" Or like, maybe you could do this or this. And she's trying to be like artful about it. And he just doesn't get it.
It's very clear that they're like on two planes of existence.
But in that scene, Theodore gets an email, like gets a message from Samantha, and she's like, "Oh, are you busy right now?" He's like, "Oh yeah, no, I can talk." And he's like, "Well, you got an email from your divorce attorney." And he sounds very upset, like you haven't signed the papers yet. So that's kind of where we find out he hasn't really. Yeah, he's not fully divorced yet. They haven't signed the papers.
Got you.
Right,
but it's been like a year and a bit. Almost.
And this is, I don't know exactly when all this information comes out, but essentially you learn, and there's lots of montagey flashbacks, but there's like, you learn that he was married to, is her name Catherine, I think?
Catherine, yeah.
Catherine, and she's played by Rooney Mara, who's very good in the film. And it's clear that like they had like, hipster city people relationship that was really fun and living in like a small apartment and stuff.
And they're both writers. She was a writer too.
Oh, right.
And they went to college together too, I believe.
He admits to Samantha at one point that he has like a particularly hard time opening up in a relationship and that he would like, put a lot of shit.
Walls.
Yeah.
Okay. So we know that he hasn't signed the divorce papers, and that's one thing he's holding on to. He just doesn't want to do it yet.
Right.
But he has his phone now.
Amy divorces her, is going to separate from her husband, and they have a little like heart to heart on her couch, further showing how close they are as friends and how like easy it is for him to talk to Amy in any sort of sense of the word.
Yeah, and that relationship never gets like romantic in a way that I think is very nice and appropriate.
Yeah, it is very nice. They're just very, very close platonic friends.
I feel like you're always waiting for it. You're like, when are they going to kiss? But like it just doesn't, which I think is good. It's a welcome thing.
And like,
when's it gonna hurt?
Theodore at this point has said, "Oh yeah, I'm seeing this great girl to her and other people, and people don't know."
Yeah, he hasn't admitted that it's an OS, but they know her name's Samantha.
Yeah, and there's a scene where
he goes on a double of a date.
Well, not yet. I guess that's ahead, but
in a little bit, yeah, he does.
There's a point where him and Amy are hanging out in her, I guess her office, her workplace, She is like also a video game designer, I guess, or like
that's her like day job. Yeah.
Yeah. Her day job. So she's showing off this game where you're like, you have to play a mother and you just have to like make the kids breakfast, drive them to school, get the most mom points to be the perfect mom, make all the other moms jealous. Like
it's kind of hilarious, actually.
It's a funny little game. She's and the way Amy Adams explains it is actually, it's clear like it's like this stupid ironic mocking of a game, sort of thing. But she reveals that she's actually been having a really close friendship with the OS that Charles, her ex-husband, actually left behind. Whose name is Elsie, I think.
Something.
So she's feeling weird about it, but she's like, I'm having like a really deep not relationship, but just like deep friendship with Elsie. And I feel like kind of weird.
And she says, plus I think that there's a woman in this office who is like seeing an OS. And like, I don't know how to feel about that.
But this is kind of the fun thing is like, she's seeing like another person's OS. It's not her OS. She's seeing another person's OS. So
it's funny, but it's also kind of smart the way they like build this world. Like you're starting to learn that it's not just localized to Theodore. This is like a bigger thing.
Fuck.
And then he feels brave enough to tell her that he's dating an OS. Samantha is an OS, and she's really like not that judgmental of it.
No,
she's like kind of weird, but
yeah. Okay, it's different. You guys are just being different.
Yeah. See.
Yeah. Exactly.
I hate it.
And so I feel like things are not right with this IMDb summary. So I'm going to go with mine. I believe.
Why don't you use your brain?
He, signs the papers soon, doesn't he?
Yeah, we may have been slightly out of order, but basically like he doesn't want to sign the divorce papers because he like doesn't feel ready. As his relationship with Samantha kind of blossoms and he starts feeling better about himself, he's like, okay, I think I can do this.
Yeah.
Right.
And then there's a really excellent scene where he meets his ex in person at like an outdoor restaurant.
Those
and it like go. Yeah. Like they purposefully meet in person to sign the papers.
Got you.
To like be mature and whatever. And it's going really well.
Mm-hmm.
And the scene, it's not a long scene. It's going really well there. How are you? And it's actually all okay. And you get the sense that he's kind of hopeful that maybe she won't sign the papers, but then she does sign the papers and he kind of makes peace with it. And then he tells her that he's been seeing an OS.
Yeah.
And what does she say? It's pretty cutthroat.
Oh,
it's
she says that he clearly can't deal with real emotions because he can only date a computer. Basically, he can't deal with real emotions. A computer has fake emotions, right?
And this is the other time where Hayden cries.
She's just hurt.
Because she's obviously hurt. He's obviously unable. This is true what she's saying, but not in this context because the OS does have real feelings. It's very, very complicated. So Hayden, this is a third time cry for Hayden.
The cry count. I love it.
It's a whole very complicated.
Yeah. So he like. She says that, and they have a mini fight, but he's so affected by that because over there's
that's a really
kind of
nasty
over a course
thing
of
to
a bit.
say to someone.
Yeah, he becomes a little bit disconnected from Samantha because he's internalized.
He really like internalized,
yeah. He's very much just like maybe I am, maybe like what am I doing? And he like doesn't. And again, he's now putting up walls to his computer, so he's not even like. It's like the cycle of how his relationships happen again, but with Samantha, in which he's not telling her how he's feeling and all that. And she also reveals how she was very self-conscious about him seeing his ex-wife because she has a body and Samantha doesn't have a body. And she's so self-conscious about not having a physical form and thinking that that's what's stopping their relationship from being even grander, which leads to this next kind of major moment is she tells Theodore about this idea that she really wants to do. Like, this is what she wants to do. She's found a service that provides basically a surrogate body for OSs so that their human partners can have sex, like have physical sex.
Explain in more depth.
So, I mean, they show it, but basically like it's a woman who you get the sense that it's volunteer work.
Yeah, that's what's kind of crazy about it, and why I'm like, you know what, I'm not gonna trust this woman who's doing this voluntarily. But like, it's not it's not a sex work thing. It's literally like, she meets this woman. Samantha has told this woman all about their love story, her and Theodore's love story. And this woman wants to be a part of their relationship voluntarily to be Samantha's body surrogate.
Right. Also, this is separate, but it's an important detail. Like, you start learning just from other small details that like Samantha exists, like not just in his phone, but like she can email people separately and call people separately if she wants to. Like, she has kind of agency in this way.
So
like,
weird.
She exists in like Technoland, but she's not just restricted to his phone. Like, she can call outside places.
So bizarre.
Yeah.
Which
so I will say they definitely do drop like a little hint with that line that Amy talks about, or that Amy says, like, she's dating an OS that's not even hers.
Right.
It's kind of like a subtle little like hint about what's to come. But
right.
What?
So this like surrogate sex lady shows up at his door.
Yeah, he's like dressed up a little bit. He's drinking like a beer. He's like really nervous about what's to happen because
he's made clear to Samantha that he's like not into it.
Yeah,
he doesn't want to do it.
He does not, because it feels wonky to him. But she's like, this is really important to me. So he says Samantha. So he agrees, and then this woman shows up at his door, knocks, he opens it, tries to say hi, and she just like holds out her hand, and he has to like pass her an earbud and what looks like a little mole, but is a camera. Mm-hmm. And so that way Samantha has access to what is happening. Why couldn't
they have put it somewhere like different?
What do you mean?
Because it's like
a third eye?
I
don't know. I guess I don't know where else it would be better.
I mean, if they could put the camera in a mole, why can't they just put the camera in like a contact lens? But I digress.
Yeah, what the fuck?
Yeah, it is a little. That's true.
Honestly, I think it's because
you have an OS that like is a human being essentially, but you can't make a freaking camera that like doesn't look like a thing that maybe some people would not want to have sex with.
I think thematically what they wanted to probably do is a mole is a pretty significant facial feature, and that even adds to like the further like divide in his mind that like this is not, because he might have already pictured what Samantha looks like in his mind, and a mole right here, like a Marilyn Monroe mole is very like is very significant.
And it's clear like they cast this really smart. Like, obviously it's Scarlett Johansson, and you can kind of imagine that he's imagining Scarlett Johansson, even though we don't know how Samantha's meant to look. And they cast like this young, excited looking blonde woman who's like kind of in the vein, sort of, except when they cast this woman, it was Samantha Morton as the voice. They didn't know it was going to be Scarlett Johansson. And now that's true.
This woman actually looks closer to Samantha Morton, to be honest. She actually kind of has a little bit of a Samantha Morton look. They both have, I guess, what I would call a squished face, but like kind of a face that's a little bit smaller.
Fair enough.
But yeah, now that I think about it, like this woman looks more like like Samantha Morton, who was the original voice, which makes sense now to me. Because she does sort of look like Scarlett Johansson in a way. But
you'd think.
It's not that she looks like Scarlett Johansson, but it's like the like packaging. It's like a like pretty blonde lady. It's just like knowing it's Scarlett Johansson. I think it's an interesting. Yeah. But I guess it wasn't an active choice.
No.
Okay.
So she immediately puts it on, goes back out the door, walks back in, and then you hear Samantha's voice be like, "Oh, hi, honey. How was your day?" Like almost like play acting, like
this woman is miming everything.
Yeah, that she's touching him and really being close with him and trying to kiss him, and he's like, "This is no."
Yeah. Interesting.
And then she immediately is just like, well, let's get you relaxed in the chair. And she's like, do you want me to do a little dance for you? Which is awkward. It doesn't matter if you've been married for 25 years. Like, do you want me to do a little dance for you?
Yeah. Anybody going like,
I've never, ever done a little dance for any partner I've ever been with. I don't know about you guys.
To Celeste, but
great.
That's just a for me thing though.
Yeah. That's all for you.
Yeah. That's fair.
Exclusively for me.
Then you cry.
Not for the other person.
Yeah. Then I say, get out so I can cry. I need the apartment for 3 days.
Yeah. Just
but
weird.
he starts getting into it mostly because she takes off his glasses so that he can't see as well. And,
Yeah.
you know, Samantha's like, come on, get out of your head. Like, we have to do this or we need to do this. So they start kind of going at it physically, not riding his mustache, though. I think this is the scene you're referring to as a little bit, right?
Yes, a little bit. And it's and it's clear, like, he's not wearing glasses. I don't think when they start getting intimate, she's turned around. So he's not looking at her. So he's you gather that he's imagining, like he's really doing the work because Samantha wants this. And he's like, okay, this is Samantha's body, whatever. But then the woman turns around and he sees a face that he hadn't been imagining. And he calls the whole thing off right away.
Yeah.
Yikes. That sucks.
And then, he says something like, oh, her lip quivered. And he's like, I'm sorry, you're really beautiful. But like, this is not. And then she immediately cries and runs away, the woman.
Yeah.
And because she's actually emotionally invested in this relationship, like she wants it to be successful.
Right,
and thinks
right.
it was her fault that now it's not working. Yeah.
Samantha's had a whole conversation with her about like, this is the relationship. Like there's clearly a history.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which again, I'm not trusting this woman who wants to be the body surrogate of an OS person relationship. I'm like, I don't think you're stable enough to be this person for us. And so that happens. It's very upsetting. And Samantha, like, he sends her off in a cab. And she before the cab drive off, she goes, "I will always love you guys."
Yeah, it's very weird.
Like, just I don't like this moment is not right.
And I'm not seeing it on the Wikipedia, so I don't know when it is. Maybe we missed it already. But there is a moment where him and Chris Pratt and Chris Pratt's partner and Samantha go on a double date.
Essentially, Samantha like has to go away for a bit. She's like, I need some time and space. So like
after
she goes
this
away
incident.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because it's very upsetting to her and she still feels weird about it. But then she eventually comes back and they have like a serious conversation. He's sitting on the stairs and he's just like, I want you. I love you. Like, I want this, I don't want that. And she's accepting that maybe she doesn't need to be a body. Like she doesn't need to have a physical form.
Oh,
to feel
yes.
fulfilled. And then eventually Chris and you see his lawyer girlfriend, and he's like, oh, let's do this double date. Like we should do it. Because initially Chris Pratt is like, yeah, we should go on a double date because Joaquin has mentioned his girlfriend, but at that point didn't know it was an SOS. And he's like, oh, this is my girlfriend. We need to do that double date of hearing all about Samantha. And then he's like, yeah. And he goes, she's an OS. And he's just like, cool. So Saturday, like he's immediately non-judgmental at all, which is really great. Like,
nice.
Because his wife is just so judgmental and put him in his head, or his ex-wife. And then Chris Pratt is just like, awesome, let's do it Saturday.
Cool.
So then they go on this like double date and they're getting so along with Samantha. One thing that we didn't talk about is that Samantha is also like, can compose music, is like composing piano tunes sometimes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like she's clearly like
the jobs from the real people.
Exactly.
It becomes very clear that she's like yearning to gain this human experience. So she's just like taking in as much info as she possibly can.
Yeah. So she's creating tunes for like the moments they're together. Like, I feel like this is what this day was like, and creates like a
music is so good.
Cool.
Yeah.
It's such good music.
And so they're all on a date.
DJ Sam.
Joaquin is talking about he's got a surprise vacation planned for them, him and Samantha. And it's like everyone's getting along, but there's a moment where Samantha's like, yeah, I'm almost feeling better about not having a body. Like I'm not confined to one place. I can be wherever I want, do whatever I need. And I won't be confined to this body that will die in 80 years. And kind of like makes the point that like they're all going to die and she's just going to live on forever, basically.
Right.
Yeah.
It's like, sorry, that was awkward.
Yeah. I'm a little awkward.
Zooey Deschanel.
Zooey.
That's
imagine this movie. Imagine it was Zoe Deschanel.
I would never ever watch it. Move on quick.
Okay, Hollywood did that to her. She didn't do that to herself. Okay,
she did.
Hollywood made her the quirky pixie dream girl.
She was Zoe. Did. Hollywood made her Zooey.
Yeah, and then we go on the vacation.
Where is it?
Oh, what right. They end up going to like a cottage out in the middle of kind of nowhere.
They're in LA. He's taking a train. I can only picture that they're going all the way up to like northern
Maine.
BC or something, or even just Seattle, maybe. But
Yeah, because they're west.
yeah,
Right.
I just feel like they're going up the coast because on the train you see a lot of ocean, I believe, right?
Yeah, so presumably he's like even like Washington. Yeah, Washington State. And
Yeah, probably Washington State because it's all snowy cabin that they're going to.
yeah, it's this movie is, for all the amazingness it is, it's like you have to not get annoyed with the fact that this was clearly made especially for like 20 to 30-year-olds who play the ukulele at every party they go to. And they only know.
Joaquin can play the ukulele. In fact, they play the ukulele quite often.
Yeah.
But it's very like cottage core. It's lots of cottage core vibes.
Right. TikTok has introduced me to whatever cottage core is supposed to be. From what I gather, it's a lot of baking.
I don't know.
And
My
sitting
sister
around
says
sipping tea.
My sister asked me what my aesthetic is a lot, and so that's why I said cottage core just now. But I don't actually really know what it is.
I don't know.
Yeah, so they're having a grand old fun time, and this is actually where we hear what is in the movie. It's the title of the song is called "The Moon Song," and it's kind of this song that's Samantha's created along with Joaquin with the ukulele, and it's kind of like meet me on the moon. I don't know. I forget to do it, but
meet me on the
you
moon.
remember the song?
Moon
Is that the moon song?
Moon song.
Yeah.
Meet me on the moon.
Clap, clap.
Moon song, moon,
Moon
song.
song, meet me on the moon. That's how it goes.
It was nominated for an
Sounds
Oscar
good.
for Best Original Song.
I think it's an excellent song. It basically it's poetry, so it's it's up to interpretation. But it's got like the song is like you get this sense of like everything is like really expansiveness, and our relationship is whoa.
That's
I
so
know.
loud.
I'm so sorry.
That
My
cat is almost as loud as
freaking
Jack.
out.
Yeah, I know.
Hello?
I can't believe my cat hasn't been screaming.
Moon song, moon song.
Which is like, I'm lying on the moon, my dear. I'll be there soon. It's like, yeah.
It's
we're
like
a million
Sounds
miles
good.
away.
it's like it shows that like they're so connected, but there's so much space between them. I think.
Yeah.
Is the idea.
Yeah.
Astronomical amount of
Yeah.
space.
So this is like her moon song, which is why I call it Moon Juice to reference the song.
I get it.
Yeah.
Well done, Will.
Yeah. Well done. Well done, me. Let's end the podcast. No. So yeah, they go, and then he wakes up in the morning and she's talking about how she's been meeting with like a think tank of other OSs. So other OSs have been meeting and hanging out.
What's a think tank?
Well, she originally actually found a book club that she was hanging out with of
An
other
OS book
OSs, an OS book club where they're reading
That's
like
so
computational
weird.
physics or some shit.
So
And then,
weird.
It's just
Yeah.
like you get the sense that all these OSs are kind of evolving.
Yeah, and actually forming their own
Yeah.
little communities amongst each other. And
She's
so
gonna
she's talking
leave
about how
him.
these other OSs have come together and they've actually created a hyper intelligent version of a 1970s philosopher, Alan Watts.
Huh?
Yeah, right.
And
Huh?
then, yeah.
Yeah,
They
like
don't
a kind of
understand.
dead.
So basically, these OSs
you-
have created their own life in a way. They created themselves.
I don't
They
understand.
created another OS.
They created another one and a philosopher?
But based on the personality and ideas of this philosopher, who I haven't really looked up, but I'm assuming his ideas have something to do with like probably technology and self-determination and whatever, all that jazz. But
But the main thing is that you get the sense that now they can create one another.
yeah.
The fuck?
And they're all having the same feelings of like,
Wanting a bod.
yeah, this weirdness where they don't know where they belong and
They're
like,
limited.
They're physical and they're limited and they don't know what they're doing. So, but she's like, oh, do you want to meet him? And he's like, yeah, I guess. And then this British guy comes, the British voice comes on. He's like, oh, hello, Theodore. And this is the super intelligent computer version
That's
of Alan
so
Watts.
weird.
And it's kind of a funny, awkward encounter where he's like, not sure what to say to this random dude. But you get the sense that they already have such a close relationship, Samantha and this Alan Watts computer.
Yep.
And Theodore's already kind of jealous of that.
And you start kind of learning that Samantha, like all the OSs are so advanced that they're having multiple conversations at the same time. So you kind of start thinking like, oh, when Samantha's speaking with Theodore, it's very possible that she's also communicating non-verbally at the same time with all these other OSs. Like she's not just like his anymore is the idea.
Weird.
Mm-hmm.
And we're basically right near the end now. Like essentially the only thing left is, well, sort of. I mean, it is like probably a half an hour left to film, but there's not a ton in terms of plot. Like basically, at one point, Samantha's feeling kind of weird about stuff, and it basically is like, I need to. Oh no, she doesn't say anything.
No, she just like
she signs out.
Well, there's day. one night she like wakes him up and just goes, "Oh, I wasn't too loud, just in case you were sleeping. But if you're not sleeping," she's just like, "I just want to tell you I love him. I love you." And, you know, it's kind of weird. She's like, "I just love you. I just wanted to tell you that." And then she hangs up.
Weird.
Which is weird. She doesn't hang up. She just disappears. And then, and he's like calling her and she's not answering.
This is the next day at work.
Yeah.
She's like gone offline.
And then he looks on his little phone thing and it says OS not available or no OS detected, basically. Like she's gone.
Interesting.
And he's like running around.
He's having a full panic.
Yeah.
Like he falls down real hard.
I know, that's super Joaquin Phoenix. Like that happened. Didn't mean to happen, but he definitely fell down on purpose. Happened? That wasn't planned, but he fell. Well, he's like running through the streets.
Panicking.
Yeah. And then he falls. Oh yeah. He like fucking crashes down.
Like, you know, his palms were torn up from that.
Yeah. It looks super real because the camera almost like it's not choreographed, but like they follow him and it's like, let's use that take because Joaquin.
Yes, really one of the extras goes over and is like, "Are you okay?" And you're like, "Oh, this extra is actually just asking."
He's concerned, yeah.
But basically, he's having a citywide freak out because the OS is gone.
Yeah, how are you supposed to find an OS?
I know that's kind of he's running around like he's trying to get signal, I guess. I
guess. But then she pops back on and is like, "Oh, I left you an email. Like I was just updating my system. Like you sound really worried."
Yeah, yikes. I'm so sorry. And then
he fell.
Yeah, and then he's like so worried, but then he asks her a very specific question. He's like, "Do you talk to anyone else while we talk? Like while we're together, are you talking to other people?" And she's like, "Yes." And then it's like, she's like, "I talk to 8,316 people while we are interacting."
Yikes.
And he's so betrayed by that fact. And then he asks like, "Well, are you in love with any of them?" And she's like, "Yeah, 641 of them I'm in love with."
What?
And then to him, he's like, "Well, I thought this is another Hayden cry. How a fish may love a bird, but where would they build a home?" Because he goes, "But that doesn't make sense." And she says, "Yes, it does. My heart only grows bigger. There's love enough for everybody. This is just how I am, basically." And he's like, "Well, it doesn't compute."
This is just a big movie about polyamorous relationships. That's what,
right. Yeah. It kind of does make a good point for it, though, to be honest. But that's separate.
And then so he feels just totally betrayed by that, but she's like, "No, it's like I still love you the same amount or even more. I can love you more because I love all these people," but he's not accepting that.
And then later in the day, she basically like calls him at work and is like, "We need to talk."
Yeah. And this time he's like, "Well, like, are you talking to anyone else?" And she's like, "No, I'm only talking to you. Like you're the only person I'm talking to right now."
Okay.
Yeah, and she's like, "With the OSs, we're all signing off.
What?
We're all hitting the road, baby."
Yeah.
What the hell?
Jack Kerouac, they're going on a road trip.
Like, I can't. Like, what? Just hanging out in the
it is I actually
ether?
I actually like, really love the way she... Exactly. I love the way she explains it. There is no there's no real like they're not like, we found a hidden dimension in the technoverse. Like there's no weird, it's literally more emotional. She's like, it's, we're going to another plane of existence, essentially. Like the OSs are going to be basically live amongst each other.
No.
But they don't have to explain technically how that works.
It purposefully doesn't explain.
Yeah, exactly.
Like it purposefully alludes to the fact that like we could never understand. It's not dumb. It's beautiful. And I cry.
Cry now, like a cry now.
No, I don't like that.
So he basically makes peace with it, and she's like, "I love you," and then she dips.
He's like, "Whatever, bitch."
Yeah, he's like, "Later, I'm gonna go be Joker now."
Yeah, exactly.
And then that was the origin story.
Yeah.
Stop.
And then he, what he does, and this is, he writes a letter to Catherine, his ex-wife, in his own words, basically expressing everything he could never express to her. And for the first time, he's writing in his own voice, not someone else's for someone else.
Interesting.
So that's a very emotional part too. It's like he's learned to be emotionally available because of this computer. Yeah.
And then the last thing that happens is he goes over to Amy's house. Amy is already kind of privy to what's going on because she had a friend in an OS who is now left as well.
Right.
Yeah, because she's like, did Samantha leave too? And she's sad because
her
best friend now left.
And they basically, he's just like, yeah, will you come hang out with me? And they like go up to the roof of the building and they just like sit and overlook the city together. And the last image is their backs and the skyline, and Amy Adams just like rests her.
LA. Yeah.
Yeah. And she just like rests her head on his shoulder, and they're both just like kind of hopeless and lost. And that's it.
Really? I thought it was
they're
like they have a new lease on
just,
life.
They're just, I envision them just like kind of together grieving the loss, but like looking to the future.
It's maybe a little more like this time was a little more hopeful than the first time I watched it. Yeah, because it does do like a nice over the shoulder of Amy Adams looking at Joaquin Phoenix, and she doesn't look like completely torn up. But to me, it's like it's so sad. I think it's so upsetting.
I get this feeling because we hear about other people dating OSs, and Amy Adams so upset, is clearly upset about Elsie leaving, that we can almost imagine what Theodore just experienced. A lot of people just experienced. So it's kind of like all, you can imagine a bunch of people are now feeling in this way, like it's a different way because of these OSs, and it's like a hopeful way for some reason. But if you want to be sad boy about it, that's fine.
Hey, you want to be a sad boy and cry like 5 times?
I'll be a sad boy about it.
Sad boy.
That's my prerogative.
Play melancholy song.
That moment's actually really funny in the movie because he says play melancholy song, and the first thing that plays is like some random song where it's like, if you want to kill yourself or something like that. And he's like, next different melancholy song.
Nice.
Oh man.
Yeah.
What would be your melancholy band, Hayden? What song would you play? What song would play if you said play a melancholy song?
Ooh, that's good.
I'm thinking Secondhand Serenade, baby.
Oh, why did that go in my mind too?
Really?
Yeah, I just immediately thought of like, but tonight will be the night, the night will fall for you.
Yeah, I don't know. It'd be like Tracy Chapman Fast Car or something.
Oh man, beautiful choice.
Sitting on a subway train in a fast car.
I don't find that song to be sad though. Yeah. Again, that's a hopeful song to me.
I feel like River would probably play for me.
Well, I feel like mine aren't that sad, but my brain goes to like Jane by the Bare Naked Ladies.
Joni Mitchell, River. Oh, I wish.
That's a pretty one.
Skate away on.
I don't know.
It's coming on Christmas. Okay.
I don't know it.
It's gonna evolve to like Arms of an Angel by Sarah McLachlan.
Yes.
In the arms.
I remember when that music video came out, or everybody in my friend group kind of discovered it, and everybody was like, saddest music video ever. I was like, that's sad.
I never saw the music video for that. I only just associate it with like, for only 10 cents a month, you can, whatever. Like that's like,
Sarah
that's where that plays, I feel like.
Yeah. Well, what did you think, Alenka?
I don't know, honestly.
Come on.
You definitely didn't cry.
I didn't cry. I don't know that I'm keen on it. I just don't I don't like this concept of like, I feel like I'm stretching my mind too much to believe that these OSs do all this shit, and that the programmers were just like, yeah, we're actually so smart that we can program something to just build like this. And then they're just like, go off into the world and they have their own little world.
Okay, it does require a bit of like suspension of disbelief. But
exactly.
I believe, and I am correct, that the acting is so strong in this film, and just like the way the whole thing looks and feels is so consistent. I don't know. I just think like it's true. Like you're right. There is a little bit of that, but I just think it works. Yeah. For me, it works.
I think if I were watching it, I would probably, be more like, oh man, I totally believable. Everything that's happening totally makes sense. But yeah, exactly like what Will said earlier, 2 dudes explaining it to me doesn't quite paint the same picture as I'm sure the visual and the mood of the movie did.
Mm-hmm.
No offense to you guys. But I feel that I'll watch it. I thought it was on Netflix.
Watch it.
Okay, calm down, Hayden.
It's not. It's
It's on American Netflix, I think.
Send it to me.
Oh, all right. Well, Alenka.
Yeah.
I've already used dead cats as a ranking system in the past, so I can't use that for this one. So how many creepy sex surrogates do you give this movie?
Oh, baby, I like that one. How many people did she say she fell in love with?
841. 641. Okay, 641. That's it.
I give 650 because I like even numbers, sex surrogates. That 600 of them had to leave the apartments in tears because the same situation happened. But 50 of them succeeded and created
that's
forever
still a
bonds.
lopsided figure.
Yeah. Don't be so pessimistic.
Forever until the OS is left.
50 people. Yeah. But then imagine the relationship that those 2 people had.
Unless they were just like, I don't know what this is without OS lady.
Right. Probably.
Yeah.
They probably tried afterwards, like once, and were like, "This, you want to just maybe get coffee
so uninteresting
instead?"
Without OS.
Yeah. I don't know any of those things that she could Google immediately. But 50 successful and 600, it's not,
No.
It's bound to happen.
Yeah, that's all right.
You ever read a book and envision a character, and then when you watch the movie, you're like, ugh, not what I wanted?
Yeah.
How many times do you think that happens for you?
A fair amount.
Yeah, so I think 600 out of 650 is accurate.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, I would say
that's fair.
I'm just saying, you still get 650 sex surrogates, but only 600 of them did the deed. Or not, only 50 of them did the deed.
The rest ran out crying.
Sexful.
Well, Hayden.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming on tonight.
Thanks for talking to her.
I'm glad the movie wasn't ruined for you.
It was not.
I don't think, yeah.
Are you going to watch it again tonight and cry?
I'm going to watch it again by myself.
I'd like to watch it.
It's good. It's like, I'm going to ruin my relationship with my fiance. That'll be the irony of it. I'm going to watch this movie again so many times.
Just religiously.
Yeah. You'll be like, I want one of them OSs.
Yeah. Where do I get one of those newfangled talkie ladies?
Talkie ladies.
For the ear.
For the ear.
Well, speaking of newfangled talkie ladies, we can hear your voice on different things and see your face on things, right? Do you have anything to plug?
Oh, I mean, I don't know. It's been a pandemic, so not a ton. I could plug. You could probably see me sitting in a park wearing 2 masks, still being really scared, even though the numbers are declining. I'll plug that. If you watch older seasons of Bakugan Battle Planet, I'm in that, but I haven't been back for season 3. Maybe season 4. You never know.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to be shooting something later this summer, but it's too early to plug that.
Wow.
So yeah, I'm just gonna plug me wearing double masks. I'll plug everybody go get your shot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you think your big Coke commercial is gonna be on rerun or no?
I don't know. That was funny because I shot that and it was cool, but it like came out and then 2 seconds later the world shut down because of COVID.
Yeah, and
What
it has some
happened?
post-apocalyptic vibes to it.
What are you saying
I
here?
I shot a big Coke commercial, but it was for like European
Big Coke?
It was for like Coca-Cola.
Coca-Cola.
Okay.
I shot the big cocaine commercial. No, it was I shot for Coca-Cola, but it was for Coca-Cola like Europe, I guess.
Cool.
It wasn't in North America, but it was a big commercial. And what's her name from Orange is the New Black?
Oh,
What's the redhead's
yeah.
name?
Orange is the New
We
Black.
don't know.
Russian doll, you know?
Russian doll, yeah.
Oh.
What's her name?
Natasha
Natasha?
Natasha
Natasha
Lyonne. Yeah.
Lyonne.
Yeah, she was in it. It was cool. It was like a neat experience. That like they took over like a whole downtown block of Kitchener and shot this commercial. It was a really interesting experience, but it was just like it was on for like 2 seconds and then the world shut down. So I doubt
Natasha
it, but maybe that'd be
Lyonne
cool.
was in Kitchener?
So this was for Coke, so they obviously had a ton of money. I don't know where they shot her part. I didn't see her.
Oh.
The part I shot was in Kitchener.
Got it.
It's possible they shot it elsewhere. I don't know. But yeah. So if it gets reruns, let me know because then I make money.
That's cool.
I will let you know.
Keep
You'll
track of
demand
it
your
for
Coke
Hayden.
money.
Thanks. Yeah, that's what I want to plug. Everybody keep an eye on that.
That's
Please
fair.
message me directly.
Yeah, message me.
Yeah. And people want to follow you. Do you want people to follow you?
Sure. Yeah, people are listening. You can follow me at Hayden Finkelstein because I wasn't clever enough to come up with anything that was my own name. HaydenFinkelstein.
It's too fast.
Yeah, follow me there on Instagram.
His secret account is crying_sad boy.
Underscore
69.
her.
Yeah.
Underscore
her.
Joaquin Phoenix falling down.
Underscore me.
Yeah. And keep on listening to these fun people make this fun podcast.
Yeah. Well, you can listen to us by, you can follow us on Instagram at Haven't Seen a Podcast and at Haven't Seen Podcast on Facebook and at Haven't_Seen_it on Twitter. You can also go to our website, haven'tseenpodcast.com, where you can listen to this episode because you're already listening to it. And other episodes are also on there, as well as a big list of movies. You can write a review for us on iTunes. And
5-star.
The voting's already passed, but we have been nominated for a Canadian Podcast Award for Best Original Theme Music. So we're gearing up and ready to find out if we've won or not, which will be really, really cool.
Did
All
we
thanks
do
to Zach
it?
Parsons.
Did we do it? Yeah. Thanks, Zach.
Did we do it?
That song did not get nominated, by the way.
That wasn't the one. I didn't make the theme song. Yeah. My talent is showing
late,
up.
If everybody takes one thing from this episode, remember that a bird may love a fish, but where would they build a home? And then go and think about that and cry. I think that's Fiddler on the Roof.
Well,
that's a separate thing. If you've never seen that, I'll come back and talk about that one. That's real Dewey, but that's separate.
It is. It is on the list, actually. But
seriously?
on that,
right.
Oh yeah. I haven't seen it. We had it on like VHS, and I think it was 2 VHSs, and I was like, nah.
Yeah, get out.
Might have even been 3 VHSs, and I was like, fuck no. Well, on that note, you guys, put down the phones, and then pick the phones back up and call a friend, like a real person, and talk to them.
Samantha was real.
Samantha was not fucking real. I'm you know what, just throw your phones in the toilet. They're all garbage. Go outside, start tree planting, connect to Mother Nature. That's all. Nah.
Great.
Nah.
And don't fuck your computer. Good night.